Hey, welcome back to Beyond the Manual. Once again, we are in the paint booth. So in the last video, we got our high build primer sprayed, and now comes the fun part. It's more sanding. If it's sanding, it's always sanding. Let's just get after it. So before I put you on time lapse, I want to explain what we're doing here. So here, this actually is a pretty good light. So here you can see the speckled stuff. This piece is already started wet sanding. That's what I'm going to do with it. So here you can see smooth. This is pretty much good. And we just want to go gently, evenly until we get rid of almost all of these little marks. That's just where we have to sand to be fully smooth. Once you spray a high build primer like this, you also have to scuff it for the next layer, in this case our paint, to stick to it. So what we got are a couple of 320 grit sanding blocks and a bucket of water. And you don't have to wet sand these parts, but I found that for me, yeah, it takes a little longer, but I can also control the amount I take off better, and I can keep the dust down. Obviously, we still have to paint and clear in this booth. Wet sanding and coming back with a rag and wiping that slop off is just an easy way to keep that dust at bay. So that's what I'm going to do here. I get bored, so I jump from piece to piece. So we're going to kind of go through now, after I spent some time with my buddy Eric in here, and I'm just going to go and kind of now finish a piece. Tonight I'm going to focus on getting the bumper covers done, and maybe I'll focus on getting the little pieces, and then the hood might require its own day, just to concentrate, making sure we get our body lines in here, and that we're taking care. Again, we don't want to go down in plastic, because that means I'd have to respray stuff. So we're just going to take our time, get all this wet sanded, and we are one step closer into moving into paint, which is good because I got to get these parts out of here so I can get the wing and the ground effects in the paint booth. And I've already started working on those. Some of those needed a little bit of repair. So for instance, this edge was cracked. So I went in with a hot iron. I use this fan. I love it, but I hate it. Okay, so this is just a piece I made out of some metal. I heated, there you go. I heated that up and smashed it flat. And this is how I do my plastic welding. I just find it works better than any of the kits. I heat this up until it's blazing hot, orange with a torch. And then I go through, and I've never had good luck with these early 90s plastics using the resins that come with, say, a Harbor Freight kit or off Amazon. So what I've done is I have a few extra pieces. So like one of the old Ground Effects valences that was cracked, I saved some usable pieces off that. Here's an example. And I clean it up, and I actually use the original material as my plastic resin. So I'll take this and my hot iron, and I'll melt that down to get it bonded. And then I'll come through, like on the backside, with this 2-part plastic epoxy. This is sandable, paintable. I've been using it on all my repairs. And just come back. In fact, it sets up in like 15 minutes. And I just kind of reinforce the back of all these tabs. Not that they were broken yet, but they were definitely being stressed, with the exception of this one. This one is probably the worst out of them, but I think we will get that cleaned up, and it'll be barely noticeable when we're all said and done. So I got all that. I got that tear repaired in a similar fashion. That one I'll clean up a little nicer because it'll be more noticeable. So then we can get the final sanding and degreasing and all this stuff done on those. Like I said, I'll do these pieces and the wing, which is hiding under there. once I get the paint booth emptied, and obviously to do that, I need to spray clear and paint, and I'll go over mixing all that and spraying it as well. And these, my hood vents, I gotta get those prepped. So those will go in that batch too. We got a couple here to choose from. We'll take the best out of those. So without further ado, I'm going to enjoy myself sanding. Okay, so we got the first two pieces done. These are going to be good enough for me. This is where I'm leaving them. It's getting really late here, so we will pick it up another day to get these pieces done. And the hood, now the hood is, I don't got a ton to do on the hood. A little bit around the edges where I'm going to be a little slower and more careful. But the middles, they're sanding out pretty quick, which you would anticipate because we've already blocked this hood 2 times. So this should go quick as we anticipate. So this whole portion here almost looks like it's already done. So a little bit to finish up around the edges mostly. And we're going to call the hood done. The mirrors came out really, really nice. Pretty smooth. So those aren't going to take much. Okay. It's coming together. But that's it for now. Good night. Hey, welcome back. Good morning. It's pretty early in the morning and I want to get our epoxy primer, our sealer, sprayed on the hood and the mirrors. That way later tonight after work I can get home and wet sand that, let it dry. So tomorrow afternoon I have some vacation. We can come right in here with paint, clear, and get all of it done. Now with the epoxy primer, you have up to 3 days. Okay, so once you spray the epoxy primer, you have about that 72-hour period from the time you initially mix the product that you can come back and recoat it. So I'm gonna get the hood degreased with the wax and grease remover along with the mirrors, and we're gonna get going because time's a ticking. Well, here we go. It's a day or two later. It's the big day. We are going to get the mop, wet the floor down again. Same process as before. I got everything uncovered from spraying our sealer. And the sealer is nice. It gives it a nice flat base to lay the paint on. And besides that, no matter what kind of sealer you're using, whether it's a watered down a primer or whether it's an epoxy coating like this or an epoxy primer, having all the pieces that can have it applied help make sure that the paint all looks the same, right? If I had splotches of body filler on this, that's going to absorb paint differently. You could paint over it, sure, but it's going to affect the way the color is absorbed in the overall product. So we can't put this sealer on the plastic, we get that, but the grays are pretty darn close. I don't think it's going to be a big deal here. This is actually a primer you can also mix as a sealer as well, so I'm pretty confident about adhesion. Now you can kind of see, the nice body lines we took the time to block sand in here. So the sealing coat is when you're going to start to notice that, and they're going to become more and more pronounced as we go through paint, especially clear. So now after the floors are wet, I'm going to take the time, check all my tape seams. I'm going to check for any dust that might have gotten in this. We had a pretty clean spray. There's a couple pieces, so I'm going to go through with a little sanding block, get that off. and we're gonna come through all these pieces again with the prep pad and wipe down any dust that might have settled. And we're gonna mix our paint up and get to it. I'll take you through that process, but let me get the floor wiped. Let me get the stuff prepped for that. I already got the fan inducing a draft. That normally, well, smaller fan, so it takes a little bit longer to induce a draft in here. I got the heat turned up. We should be about 70, 72, which is good for what I got for paint. So we can look at the paint quick. So this again is from Automotive Supply, Federated Auto Parts here in Wisconsin. This is the GM 1992 Arctic White. And I can't remember if it's 1990 or 1989 GM changed what their Arctic White recipe was to make it brighter. So this is what that is. And then this also has, like we discussed, its own TDS sheet, the acrylic base coat. It's basically a 1-to-1 paint to reducer. So technically, if you get 1 gallon, you really end up with 2 gallons of sprayable. I would say probably by the time we're all said and done, I would have gone through almost 2 gallons. I'm hoping I have about a quart left when I'm done. I'll keep that for touch-ups, which I've scratched and chipped some paint because I'm just not that careful, guys, okay? Yep. So the nice thing about this stuff is you can mix it up whenever. Since it's just a reducer and paint, it has an infinite pot life. So I will probably mix up 3 20, 40, 60. You know, I'll probably max these out, 3 of them, and we'll start there. This stuff's pretty easy to mix up. Now again, this paint has sat a while, so we'll get the gun, stir that up really, really good. And then same thing when we add our reducer, we're gonna sit and stir that with a stick for about 2 minutes. We just wanna make sure that all those chemicals have that opportunity to bond and bind like they're supposed to. Then after that, it's adjusting air pressure. I'm actually gonna change out my moisture filter. This one has been on there for a long time. So they do last a long time, but just to be safe, I'm gonna swap that out. I'd hate for something to happen at this stage. So I will set you guys up when I am prepped and ready, and time for paint. I'm gonna try really hard not to spill this, but so this paint mixes at a 1-to-1. So just to make it easier and get the most, I can go 12 ounces of paint to another 12 ounces of reducer. That's your 1-to-1. And again, after this, you pour it in there, we want to make sure this is good and mixed for 2 to 3 minutes with a stick. Then we can move it to the gun. All right, so the paint booth is starting to filter out here. You can see maybe how well that comes through. I didn't have any weird bleed throughs. I did have one oops. The hose got caught on my leg, and I did have a run here at the bottom of the bumper. That I think I might wet sand a little, but honestly it's gonna hang underneath the car. It's barely gonna be noticeable. That's my bad. Technically I should let this flash off, sand that, hit it a few more times, wait clear. We'll see what that looks like. That's kind of an oops. But that kind of stuff happens and you just have to kind of go with it, go with the flow. But the mirrors, the gas cap, you know, things in the hood, things that are gonna get debris from the road. I put 4 coats of paint on. So gas cap, chemicals, gasoline, right? The mirrors. Hood got 4 coats, came out pretty flat, not a lot of dust. Fairly happy. I did have one little oops in here, but I was able to catch it real quick. I basically just kind of dabbed a piece of tape in it, grabbed my run and shot it quick, and that actually melted right back down. You can't even see it. So I think all in all, the pieces turned out really good. I have one run at the bottom here. Again, that's gonna be so far underneath the car, and it's not worth me fixing. So we're gonna let this flash off for about an hour or 2. and we'll come back and it'll be basically clear, 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 4 coats clear, and go from there. But that's definitely white. I like it. Now it's just a waiting game. All right, friends. I did not film the clear coat because it does cause, I don't know if you can see the haze in the shop, even with the paint booth and some ventilation and a draft. This setup still creates a bunch of overspray, and I didn't want that on my brand new iPhone. So here's kind of a look at the parts. I think generally speaking, the clear coat laid over nice and flat on almost everything. I'm gonna be very careful now not to touch anything. This is gonna flash off over the next 24 hours, and it's just gonna keep getting shinier and shinier as that happens. This, I ended up doing basically 4 coats on everything. The plastics, I only did the 4th coat kind of on the tops, not necessarily the whole thing again. I'm sure there's spots I've missed. If there is, we'll brush in some touch up. But I think overall, oh boy, it's gonna look really nice on the car. I will show you that run I had is going to blend in almost unnoticeably. So just goes to show, guys, you're gonna make mistakes, and just be prepared and have a plan, and don't let that freak you out. In this case, I didn't film it, but I waited an hour, paint was dry enough, took a 320 sanding foam sand block, just did a little wet sanding with some wax and grease remover, and wiped that clean, hit it real quick with paint, took care of it. That's one of the nice things about going 4 coats of paint, although the bumpers only have 3, but going at least 3 or 4, you have that ability to sand and fix some issues without worrying necessarily about burning through. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm actually gonna turn the shop up to 75, let this stuff cook. I'm gonna leave all the lights on, okay? And my personal reason for that is whatever the lights are doing from a static electrical perspective, I want them to keep doing, okay? If I shut the lights off and let's say they lose their charge, well, where are those particles gonna go? They're gonna fall down on these parts, right? So I'm gonna probably keep these lights on overnight. That's gonna, in my mind, that's my habit. It's gonna keep as much dust off as possible, or if dust travels in, I'm hoping between the draft of the fan, which will stay on, probably not overnight, but certainly probably for the next 4 or 5 hours, keep as much dust from landing in this stuff as possible. It's early enough, we shouldn't have to worry about too many bugs in Wisconsin, but with that, boy, I've made a mess to clean up. It goes very quick. Paint, wait 10 minutes, paint, wait 10 minutes, paint, wait 10 minutes. Wait, I waited 2 hours, and then clear coat, wait 15 minutes. Clear coat, 15 minutes, you get the point. So that's the process I followed. I will put as much of the information about the products I used in the video for what it's worth to people. Turn off the air compressor and the lights. I'm out. Thanks for watching this episode of Beyond the Manual.